Good morning friends and welcome to the pre-market view. We are going to have a big bang opening today as we had a very favorable election outcome wherein at least in 3 states the BJP has been able to gain majority, and in Delhi they have emerged as the single largest party. Apart from that, we had extremely good global cues, mainly because of the much better than expected job data that came out from US, which was about 204,000. So a combination of these two events have led to some kind of a big bang opening for our markets, and as per SGX Nifty we are going to open around 6,500 or thereabouts, almost about 190 points above the Friday's closing. But it remains to be seen after we have that kind of a gap of opening whether we have enough tools in the market to really take it further up, because after these events are over, probably we may not have any major trigger to sustain that kind of a rally. That's the impression that we are getting. Talking about the US markets on Friday, they were up about 1.25% to almost about 0.75%, as the job data was much better than expectations. And now there is a consensus that there is going to be a tapering. It remains to be seen the quantum of the tapering, how much to start with we will have, which would be anywhere from about 10 to about $20 billion, and the timing of it. Currently the market is working with an assumption that the tapering would begin somewhere in January, so it remains to be seen when exactly that happens. The 10-year bond yields are suggesting that we are definitely going to taper as early as January, as they have really shot up to about 2.85%. Talking about the European markets, they were also up anywhere from about 0.71 to almost about 0.9%, though some of the data points that came out from Eurozone were not really positive. And when we look at the Asian markets today morning, Nikkei is running away with 1.9% kind of a gain. Today morning, the economic data that came out from Japan was not good, but the yen has depreciated about 2 to 2.5%. So which is what is reflecting in the way the Nikkei market is behaving, and most of the other markets are up about 0.4 to almost about 0.85%. And as I said before, SGX Nifty is going to open at all-time high levels of somewhere close to about 6,500. Talking about the flows, friends, on Friday, FIs were net buyers in the cash market to the tune of about 834 crore, whereas the domestic institutions were sellers to the tune of about 774 crore. No major action was seen in the index futures. On that note, let me invite Shaival to take us through important F&O cues and ideas that we can have from the F&O side.
Good morning friends, let's have a view at derivatives. Friends, we are starting the week almost near the all-time high, as SGX Nifty is up by more than 187 points and SGX Nifty is trading at 6,500. Onset of the state election results which have come out in favors of the market expectation. Now from last 2 days we have been seeing that long positions have been accumulated in the market and the PCR ratio is on the gradual decline. The PCR ratio is at 0.92, and talking about the options activity, friends, currently 6,500 and 6,600 call options were the strikes which have not only witnessed good amount of activity or say addition in open interest, but also stands with highest number of shares in the open interest. Whereas on the put side we have seen that the focus from 6,000, 6,100 has shifted towards the highest strike of 6,200 and 6,300. And it has sustainable amount of open interest in this strikes. Talking about the activity, friends, from positional perspective, 6370 on closing basis would be an important support level that we feel for the market. Would be resistance from intraday perspective would be 6540, and across the futures and options segment, FIs were net sellers in Friday's trade. Now if I talk about the weekly VWAP, our VWAP is at 6250. We are trading above this. A bias for the market is positive. Now as we knew that there is an event lined up, our straddle break even point was 6371, so probably we have taken this range as a hurdle. But today's opening of SGX Nifty is suggesting that market would not only surpass this hurdle of 6371 but would also close above this, so probably we would be revising our weekly as well as monthly targets today.
Here are the important news and events that we are tracking today. First of all, the assembly election outcome would be a major trigger for the market, and clearly, as I discussed before, the fact that in 3 out of 4 states BJP has been able to win with a clear majority would definitely lift the sentiment. Though Delhi, they have emerged as the single largest party, it's not very clear as to when any kind of a claim to form the government would be put forth by the BJP. until they are able to garner the support of the requisite members. But overall, we think that this would be an important trigger for the market, and it remains to be seen how much more upside can really one can expect, given that this news has already happened. So we think that it's time to really look out for some profit booking opportunities. So if the market opens up with a gap of almost 200 points, one should really look out for exiting opportunities rather than trying to enter into new trades at this point of time. Power Grid FPO got a very good response both from the HNI and the retail investors. The retail category actually oversubscribed almost about 2.17 times, and a minimum application that the retail investor would have made would have fetched about 1,040 shares, which definitely is a bit of a positive for them. The HNI category got oversubscribed almost about 10 times, and we think that there is a case for some kind of a short covering in the futures in Power Grid, because a lot of HNI investors who had bid in the application and sold the futures will have to cover their position because of the higher response that they have got in the FPO. And some kind of a setback for Mr. Vijay Mallya, as the Karnataka High Court has admitted a petition against Kingfisher Airlines to wind up, which is a bit of a negative news for him personally. There are reports that major car manufacturers like Maruti Suzuki, Tata Motors and Hyundai will take a price hike from next month. This is after some of the big names like Mercedes, BMW and Audi have already done the price hike. And GVK Group, majority shareholder in the both Mumbai and Bangalore airport, is planning to sell a part of its 43% stake in the Bangalore airport to strategic investors. So watch out for some positive action in GVK today. Coming to the stock specific ideas, Reliance Industries, some positive news is the Law Ministry and the Planning Commission both have backed Oil Ministry's proposal to increase the gas price, which would almost double from the current price. So one can go long on Reliance with a stop loss of 850 and a target of about 893 to about 909. Some positive news for sugar industry, as the government has decided to provide interest-free loans to sugar mills to start operation this season, and the scheme will be achieved by about 12% interest subvention loans to the tune of about 7,200 crores. So this means that sugar industry will be able to borrow from the government at a very low rate of interest of almost about 1 or 2%. Some of the other recommendations that the government is working with are giving them some kind of a restructuring for the companies which are under pressure, and making the blending of ethanol mandatory in petrol to the tune of almost about 10%. So these measures are definitely positive for sugar industry. So one can go long on Balrampur Chini with a stop loss of 45 and a target of about 48.5. That's it from all of us, friends. Have a great trading session and see you tomorrow at the same time.